Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Young here, and today I'm back in our Fortnite video. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys some building techniques that you guys can practice to really help you guys build a lot faster in this game. I'm going to strictly be focusing on building in this game, so if you guys are looking for some tips and techniques to practice when it comes to improving your building speed, this is definitely going to be the video for you. And real quick, before we get into the video, I have a V-Buck giveaway. I'm going to be giving away V-Bucks every single Friday. So if you guys want to enter this giveaway and win some free V-Bucks, all you guys have to do is to drop a like on this video. Make sure you guys do subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you guys do turn on those post notifications so you guys get notified for every single new video. And lastly, comment down below either your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account, and you guys will be automatically entered into the next giveaway. And also, if you guys like to support me in the item shop, all you guys have to do is go down to the bottom, click on support a creator, type in my code. My creator code is Young Humor, and you guys will have me added and supported as a creator. And alright guys, let's get right to the video. Alright, so in this video, I wanted to give you guys some building tips and techniques that you guys can use to improve building a lot faster. So this video specifically, I want to focus on building. I think there's maybe like one technique in here that you use editing, but it's a very simple edit and it's nothing too complicated, because with a lot of high ground retakes and a lot of free building in Fortnite, there's a lot of editing involved as well. It's not just building, so that can get pretty complicated. So I wanted to focus and make a video strictly on building to help you guys out when it comes to building a lot faster. So I have probably like 5 or 6 techniques that I use all the time that I practice that help me win a lot more games, because I like to focus on things that you specifically use every single gunfight. Because you will see in a lot of clips that people are doing a lot of crazy building and editing, but a lot of times in pubs or even in arena when you are building against other players, a lot of that is just unnecessary. So I want to be focusing on building techniques that you would specifically be using every single game. So here is the first one that I want to show you guys. Now this one is something that I practice quite a bit. You probably, at least for myself, I use this probably. I would say it would not be an understatement to say I probably use this almost every single gunfight. And like I said, these are going to be a lot of building techniques that are strictly building without a lot of editing, so you can learn these pretty quickly and have them down pretty fast, but they are really good to practice. Even for myself, I don't have them 100% consistently like I probably should. Now I have them pretty consistently, but not as perfect as I really want to. And also when it comes to any of these building techniques that I'm going to show you guys, even when it comes to any sort of editing, building, whatever the case may be, you always want to practice from both sides. So you want to practice jumping off the left side, and you also want to practice jumping off the right side. And the reason what you would want to do that is because in game you really never know which side you really need to jump off of, because sometimes it's a lot better to immediately go from that left side, or sometimes it's a lot better to go immediately from that right side. When you are building and editing and practicing, you definitely want to make sure you're practicing from both sides. And this is just one you use quite often, and you can really do it with any combination of other retakes, because when you are building up against another player and they're maybe at the same level or a little bit above you, you want to build behind you. So that's why I really like that retake quite a bit. And for this one, this is basically going to be a double wall, floor, and ramp, but you're going to go kind of in a zigzag motion from left to right. I really like this one because it really gets your technique down when it comes to building those wall, floor, and ramps. And for myself, I find this not to be too difficult. It just takes it a second to really get the technique down, but once you get the technique down, it is very good. And this is something that I use quite a bit in games as well, because not every single time I want to do a 90 when I'm turning. Sometimes I just want to turn right away, and learning this and perfecting this can be a very useful strategy, because you can build to the other side right away. And because, like, if say I want to go to the left or the right side of me and I don't want to crank up another 90, maybe I already have high ground, it's a lot better to do this technique where you kind of branch off to the side instead of having to build up another 90. This can save you a lot of materials and make you a lot faster, because you can automatically go to the sides a little bit faster. So like if you do double 90s or other retakes, that really is very good for getting you higher. For this one, it's really good for pushing you up and sort of like an angle. So this can be very effective in a lot of different situations. So practicing this can be very effective and help you build a lot quicker. And obviously you can move this with another combinations. Maybe you could, because like I said, in this video I'm just going to do strictly building, but you could branch off, do this, and maybe hit like a double edit on the ramp and also the wall. So there's a lot of different combinations you can practice. You can make this a lot harder if you want. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you guys just the super simple and straightforward technique. So that is going to be the second one I wanted to show you. So moving on into the next one, this one's kind of sort of in a way like the first one I showed, but with this one you're branching off to the side instead of going forward. Now I really like this one because when it comes to duos and squads, sometimes when you want to do a high ground retake and you need to change directions, this can be a very, very good technique, because when you're ramping up, you can protect yourself from above and the side, and you can also ramp in a different direction. Now this is probably one of the best retakes to use when it comes to changing your direction. Obviously there's a lot more advanced ones you could use, but as far as practicality and just the ease of doing it very consistently, and that's really the key as well. You want to be very consistent in game, and when it comes to those very complicated retakes, you're not going to be very consistent. You could probably get a couple Instagram clips, but that's really about it. You're not going to be able to hit that consistently every single game, and some people are, but for the majority of you guys, probably not going to happen. So something like this is very, very practical and super effective when it comes to protecting from above you and also changing your directions. Maybe you want to branch off to the left side, maybe you want to branch off to the right side, and like I said earlier, you do want to practice going from both directions. So this one I practice going from the right side, and I also practice from the left side. It's very important you get both directions, because sometimes you might need to branch off one way or the other way, and you never really know when it comes to games. So you really want to be prepared and have the technique down, because when it comes to going from both directions, it does feel a little bit weird, because in the game the camera angle is on that right side. So when you are coming from the right side when you're building, it is a little bit weird and you have a little bit less FOV, but sometimes it is necessary when it comes to being able to consistently get high ground against other players. So for this one, this is the only one that has anything to do with editing, and so for this one, all you do is you constantly ramp up, and then you have a cone above you and a cone in front of you. Now of course there's a lot of different options you can do off of this, but this is very, very good for just a simple practice, is when you're ramping up, placing that 2 cones. And the reason why I like this a lot is because when you're in actual game, someone's behind you and you're placing the 2 cones, it can get very unpredictable what you're about to do, because you can turn on the other player, maybe you can just drop down, maybe you can have an edit on that cone and a branch off. So there's so many different options you can do off of that retake. And so for this one, it's the same essential thing where you place the cone above you, but instead of editing the cone, you go for a 90 over to the side. Now I really like this one quite a bit, because when you do build, it's a little bit more difficult to shoot you out, because you're connecting a lot of builds, plus you're able to get high ground very quickly against the other player. And that's something that a lot of people mistake when they go for these advanced retakes, is every time you want to go for high ground, you have to be conscious, especially when you go against players who have like drum guns and scars, all those type of weapons, that it's very easy to get shot out when you are using wood. And if you don't have a lot of builds connected as well, you're going to get shot out instantly and very, very quickly. Now sometimes you run into players who just crank up 90s and don't even care what's connected or what's not, but if you go against players who actually have any sort of brains, then you really want to be careful when it comes to building, because you want to get high ground, but at the same time you do not want to get shot out. So this retake here is very, very good to practice, and because you just have essentially a lot of builds connected that are able to kind of block the fire if someone does decide to shoot you out in the middle of a gunfight. So this one really, really good. Do recommend practicing this. I like it quite a bit. And moving into the last one I'm going to show you guys in this video, it's the same sort of concept where you're placing the cone above you, but instead of going for a 90 out, what you want to do instead is you basically go for an 80, and then you place a 2 wall, 2 ramp, 2 floor building technique. Now I do this one quite a bit in game, because the other one's very good for getting high ground, but this one's really good if you want to make a quick turn on another player, but also at the same time want to make sure the other player doesn't shoot you out, or you can block them with the ramp. Either way, this is a technique that I use probably every single game. It's been very, very effective for me in the sense of it's hard to shoot out unless some guy has an RPG, which more times than not, if a kid has a minigun or RPG, you're not going to be building anyway. But this technique, very effective, very good, uses pretty much every single game. I found this to be probably one of the most effective retakes for myself. And to be honest, the thing I really like about the start, so when you place the ramp above you and below you, there's so many different ramp techniques that you can do out of this. I showed you guys 2, but there's probably a good 4 or 5 very good ones to do out of it. And that's the very good thing about building and editing alike, is because it can be very unpredictable. The other player doesn't know exactly what you're going to go for when you do, so you can have the element of surprise when you're going against players in game. Now, these techniques are very, very good for practicing your building speed, especially for you guys who may be a little bit newer or intermediate. Of course, if you guys are extremely good at the game, these are probably pretty easy, and in that case, I guess work on a bunch of free building, work on cranking 90s and just cranking a bunch of edits, and you're probably better off working on a lot of free builds. But if you want to specifically focus on building, I really do recommend practicing these techniques. Do you have it down perfectly? So with that being said, that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys do drop a like, make sure you guys do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Turn on my post notifications so you guys get notified for every single new video. And as well, I do stream every single day here on this channel at 5:45 Eastern Standard Time, so make sure you guys do come by my streams if you guys like to watch some live streams. I do live stream every single day here on this channel. And with that being said, I appreciate you guys watching the video, and alright guys, I'll see you next video.